Hello guys, my name is Troy. Welcome back to my booktube channel. Today I'm going to take you guys on a little adventure. I wanted to kind of tell you a story about, how my reading has changed and evolved over time. I want to tell you about the 6 series that changed my life or just changed my reading perspective to, kind of get where I am today, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to take you guys back like a couple years ago to when I started falling in love with reading and the series that kind of shaped me to become like the total book lover I am today and just how I became obsessed with books. And so I can't wait to share that. So I can't wait to share with you all of these series. You've seen a lot of these because, a lot of these I love, and that's why they shaped me to be a book lover. But I've also got some new ones that I haven't really talked about much, and I just kind of want to explain not so much these series, but how the series shaped me and how they shaped my reading life. But before I do that, I just want to do a couple of announcements about my next uploads, I guess. Today we're doing the 6 book series that changed my life or whatever. Then on Saturday, I'm going to be doing a book review of my first audiobook ever. So I'm listening to Best the Boys by Mary Weber. I'm going to give a review of that book and then also of my first audiobook experience. Do I like audiobooks? Do I not like audiobooks? I have 15 minutes of that audiobook left, so I'm going to finish that up probably today. Then I'll get you guys that review and stuff. And then I think next Wednesday I'll have my March wrap up, and I think I'll do something fun with that where I'll do reverse chronological order, because usually I do chronological order with my wrap ups. I'll do reverse chronological order of the books that I read in March, which should be fun. I'm just gonna wrap up all the reading that I did in March. And guys, I am reading heck a lot. I found this great reading schedule, and I have a lot more videos to come and just share with you guys all about my reading schedule, but it's going great so far. And then I plan to have next Saturday my reading for 24 hours straight vlog, which I'll record this Sunday because I won't have any videos going out. I can just literally read for 24 hours without, any consequences. So that'll be fun. I can't wait for this upcoming content, guys. I've got so many ideas, so many fun stuff planned. So make sure you do like this video if you're excited and subscribe to my channel for, to get notified when all this new content comes out. Guys, I've just been getting so many ideas for this channel. I think this channel is literally the light for me, through this kind of dark time. So I just love, talking to you guys. It's amazing. All right, let's get on to the video with my first kind of series that kind of got me into reading. Okay, so let's flash back a few years ago, actually a couple years ago, to 2015, early 2015, where I read the series that kind of got me into reading. It's the series that I classify as the series that propelled me to step by step to get to where I am today. I think this was the first step I took with reading, and I had read books in the past, but this was the series that I classify as the series to help me read. So that series was the Unwanted series by Lisa McMahon. There are 7 books in the series. I think there's only maybe 5 or 6 when I was reading it, but they still came out. And so let me kind of talk about this series. So I kind of got into the series. I was in 5th grade, and at my school we were all sectioned into groups, and so our book clubs were divided into advanced level kids, the people that can read really highly and really comprehend it, the middle kids and low kids, and I'm pretty sure there's actually even more tiers than that, but just to give you a gist. So we were separated by our reading comprehension and stuff. And so I wasn't at the top. This was considered the top book in my class, and I wasn't considered that. I guess I was reading a different book, but I was hey, that looks freaking interesting. And so I picked it up on my own because I was I want to be a part of the advanced group. And so I read it, and it was just so good. I don't know, for some reason it just seems so intriguing to me, and I think this book is just magical in that I really wanted to read something really fun and magical, and it kind of just started my reading. I read the series, ended up reading it with other people and lending the series to other people, and it was great. I had a great 5th grade class read along with the Unwanted. And also this cover has this white line at the top, and it's not supposed to. I don't know what happened to it. This book got me into reading more books. I think this was what really got me into reading. So this was an introduction to middle grade and fantasy. And so the fantasy aspect of this book, which is this book is basically about this mansion called Arteme, where the students go to learn art, and they have all these different magical classrooms, and they learn different magical abilities in their art subject, and it's just such a really cool and fun, quirky book. And so this really introduced me to the middle grade and the fantasy. And I think I said this in my middle grade recommendation video, which is up there if you want to see more thoughts on the Unwanted series in general. I described this as the face of middle grade for me, and I think this was just such a great introduction to reading because it shows me the light and the fun that you can have while reading, because this was such a fun series. And so I ended up reading the Unwanted, and then I was I ended up reading more. So reading Unwanted led me to pick up the arguably most impactful series on my life. So a couple of months later, after reading the Unwanted and really just loving that series so much, I picked up the Keeper of the Lost City series, and this was in 2016 if I didn't say that already. And this series just has had the greatest impact on my reading life and has really just got me into booktube, got me into YouTube, just becoming a content creator, becoming a total book nerd. Like, this is the series that did the most for me in terms of coming to where I am now, and I just can't thank the series enough. So when I started this series, there wasn't this many books, 8 books in the series, so there's only these 4 books in the series. And let me just say that I've read this series 8 times now or something, like something crazy like that. Like, I've read the series so much because it's just so good. This series just has given me so many opportunities and stuff. I've met the author, like, it's been crazy. So let's kind of unpack all of this. So when I first read this, I was in 5th grade. I was like finishing up my 5th grade year. I actually kind of read this along with 2 friends. And what happened was, is we were reading it and we were all in the AIG program, like the academically gifted program at my school. And let me hold this up while I'm talking. We were all in the academically gifted program at the school, and I feel like we had to do some sort of project, and we chose to do a movie trailer. And so we chose to do a movie trailer for this series and for the Keeper of the Lost City's Never Scenes. And so what we ended up doing is we had this green screen and we started like pulling up these pictures and like shooting all these different scenes from this book. And to this date, this is probably my favorite book in the entire like world at this point. And it was just so crazy how we all got so excited over the series. We all like went on the playground, started like, you know, playing around, and we were acting all as the characters. It was so fun, and just to have that experience, like to have friends and like to read a series together and just like bond over it. It was amazing, and I just really enjoyed that aspect, and it ended up being such a cool trailer. I don't really remember. It was probably cringy, but it was just so fun to make. And this kind of got me into like the book nerdy stage, I guess, in my life, where I just love books so much that I would, you know, go beyond the limits of just reading a book, and I needed to create on my books, if that makes any sense. Now, flash forward a couple years later, I got out of 5th grade. I didn't really talk about it much. You know, I read the next book that came out, Lodestar. After this book went out, which was the 6th book, and this is, remember, the 5th book went out, it was kind of, 6th book, I didn't even pick this up until like a few months after it released. But after this book, this totally changed my life. So I started the KOTLC fanbase YouTube channel with my friend Joey, who basically got me into being a YouTube creator, and I would not be here without this series today. So basically what happened is one of my best friends had started reading KOTLC, and he started a YouTube channel about it, and then I realized that I wanted to join too, and so we immediately started working together, making videos, and now we have like almost like 200 videos on this series. Our channel has almost 2,000, actually has over 2,000 subscribers, 2,100 subscribers, and it's just so cool to be able to make all these fun videos about KOTLC. You know, this book came out, then the next book came out, and the flashback came out, and we're just making videos about it, and we're bonding over the series. And this is kind of what got me into being a YouTube creator and has given me the experience that I need to make this channel. Like, I sprouted this channel off the other one because I just wanted to, you know, make even more videos. And so I think this series, again, just has impacted me so much as a whole, and I cannot like be here without it. Anyways, we're gonna go back to middle school, and we're going to talk about some more series that impacted my life. Alright, so after KOTLC and just becoming like totally obsessed with one series, so I kind of want to just like flash forward a couple years to 2018, early 2018. And my reading didn't really change from like 2016 to 2018. I didn't really read any great series. I was just kind of like in the normal reading mode. I wasn't reading that much. I wasn't in the total book obsession yet. Like, that's not even close to where we are right now. But this next series actually started to introduce me to the booktube community. So the next series that changed my life was the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. I don't have all the books in this series right now. I'm loaning out some to my friend Joey, but this is the Throne of Glass series. I'm just going to hold up the first book because I don't want to hold up all these while I'm talking. But the Throne of Glass series, in kind of simple, is just about this slave in the salt mines of Endovier who gets the chance to fight back for her freedom, eventually winning that, and then going on this crazy conquest to like claim back her throne. And just, it's an amazing series. So yeah, I discovered this series in early 2018. One of my friends like kind of like forced me into it. I feel like it wasn't really a recommendation. It was literally like, here, take this book. please take it, please take it. And so I just read it. I read the first book. I loved it. I mean, at first, when I read the first page, I was like, I'm not gonna like this. I ended up loving the series so much, and the full series wasn't out, so I kept loving it. But anyways, what this book did to change my life was I actually stumbled upon the booktube community after reading this. And you can just imagine kind of how that shaped my reading perspective and stuff, because after watching booktube, I found like 2 channels in specific. It was Emma Books and Jessie the Reader. I found their channels and I started to watch their videos, and it's like I'm not alone anymore. Like I have people out there that are like total book lovers like me, and so it's like this kind of kicked in, joining like the book community, I guess you could say, and just like me kind of like communicating, interacting with book people, even though it's just me watching videos. And so this book also is just so good, and it kind of introduced me more into the YA genre, and it just kind of expanded my love for books in general, and it just made me feel like there was actually good series out there. Like there's a lot of good series out there, not just 2 that I already had loved. It's like I just tried a random book series and I loved it. So like I feel like that propelled me to be like, hey, there might be other series out there that I can read that are good as well. And I think that really shaped kind of my book love. And so then the next series also happens in 2018, so let's go. And so shortly after the Throne of Glass series, after a couple months, I, by the grace of God, stumbled upon this next series, which totally changed my reading in such a positive way. It is the... I can't even hold. The Inheritance Cycle, or the Eragon series by Christopher Paolini. This series truly changed my life, and even though it was read over such a long span of time, it was just something about the series that was so adventurous, so fun, but also emotional at the same time, and like really grips you. Like this was just such an amazing story, and it really contributed to my reading life in that I have just gotten a lot of nostalgia over it for the past couple, like for this last year. Like I read the series, and ever since, like I cannot stop thinking about it, and I always just have a craving for reading this story again. And so it's like, this was such an amazing series, and I honestly just need to reread it as soon as I freaking can, because it's driving me crazy. So anyway, so I read this late 2018 and transitioning into 2019. So from 2018 to 2019, early 2019, I read the Eragon series. And I think a big part of this was like my kind of changing my life aspect, is that I read this on my last year of middle school, and I loved middle school, guys. It was such a great experience for me. I met so many amazing people, and it's just like middle school was ending. I was reading Eragon, which had a lot of nostalgic tones, and it was just making me go all emotional in all my feels. But basically, I think just the amazingness of this book really shaped me to kind of like read more, because I wanted to find more books like this, because this is such an amazing series. So let me kind of tell you about this series. So this book is about this boy named Eragon, and this boy finds this blue stone in the Spine Mountains or something in Alagasia. And what happens is that blue stone hatches and it turns into a dragon egg. And shortly after, these monsters come to Eragon's house trying to track the dragon, because there's only like 3 dragons in the world, and they have to try to track down the dragon and like all the magic and stuff because it's outlawed. And so what happens is Eragon's uncle Garrow gets killed, and then Eragon sets out on this adventure to avenge his death and kill off these monsters that killed off his uncle. And it's not really monsters, they're just kind of like different species. It's kind of weird. I don't know. And it's just such a great adventure, I feel. Like, feels like such like a great adventure story, and it's filled with light, filled with adventure, filled with magic, and is so detailed. Like, if I want to show you guys the wording, it is so small. And I think that's a great kind of aspect of the story, is there's so much of it, and it's so long, and over time you grow so attached to it, and it's just like, I never want to give it up again. And so this series just made such a great impact in that it was amazing. It was like an adventure story that I really loved and enjoyed. I just think this really kicked in my gear for reading, and ever since that time, I have been reading so much. And this actually got me into Goodreads. Without Goodreads, I don't think I would be here today, honestly. Okay, so I found the Goodreads platform after I finished the Inheritance Cycle, and I guess this is my chance to kind of talk about it more. So Goodreads is just literally a community where thousands and thousands and thousands of tens of thousands of people are on it to talk about books, and you know, they have this like book community on Goodreads. It's really, really fun, and I guess this is just really what got me into like finding a lot about like what I can do further with my reading and like being a part of the book community. And so what happened was I found Goodreads one day when I was like looking up like if there was any like spin-off series or something for Eragon and Inheritance Cycle. And what happened was immediately I got launched into this like book obsession because I realized that there were so many good books out there that I wanted to read. And so like you can look at if you go into I have a link in the description to my Goodreads account, and of course I'd love if you want to send a friend request or send a message to me. If you look in my TBR or like want to read section like in my profile, like I have over 700 books. So as soon as I got on that platform and as soon as I got exploring, I was like immediately like wanting to read, and I was like had all this like big want to read list, and I just found so many books that I would love, and like it really got me into just like loving books and like kind of like being active in the book world, not just like picking up random books, but like being active in the social part of the book world, and like even talking to people and like writing reviews. And it was just really cool, and it really got me again into total like book socialness, like online book socialness, whatever. And so from that, I discovered a lot of hype around this one series, so I had to pick it up, and I guess this was like one of the series that I read because of BookTube. I'll probably make a video called like books I read because of BookTube. But anyways, that was the Shadowhunters Chronicles by Cassandra Clare, and these are not the only like books in the series. There's like over like 15 books at this point, and it's just growing so much. Cassandra Clare is writing so many books about this wonderful series. I'm just gonna hold up one of the books again because I just don't have that muscle strength. This is just one of the series within the Shadowhunters Chronicles, and is the first book of the Infernal Devices series, which is like kind of like one of the old series where it's like a prequel series that's set in like the 1800s in London. It's really good. Love the series so much, and I own it. Oh, this is not the first book. This is the third book. Let me get the first book. This is the first book. Anyways, so I read the Shadowhunter series, and it was so hyped, and I read it because of BookTube, and it was such a good series. And I don't know, I don't really remember like what the impacts of the series were, but like I think this just kind of strengthened my trust in like the book community, because I was like, wow, if one random series that a lot of people like on the book community like this, then I must like a lot of other books. And then I guess this just got me more into the Goodreads and the BookTube and the Bookstagram and all that stuff, and this kind of led me to a lot more YA stuff and just like really strengthen my love for books and for the YA genre and fantasy genre and urban fantasy. Like I just think this was just a great book. I don't know. I just think I had so much hype for it. I was loving it. Oh, and like I read this like with other people, I guess, and like I was talking to them about it. It's like a little book club thing, and I kind of just read it with them, and it was just such a great series, and like discovering all the magic of it. It was just such a fun series, and it just again strengthened my love for BookTube, Bookstagram, books, all that kind of fun stuff. This got me into a lot more reading. Like it really just kind of made me read a lot more, and this made me discover my next series, I guess, or just kind of led me to my next series. After the Shadowhunters happened, I had a great rest of the reading year. It was great, but near the end of 2019 and to the start of 2020, I found one of the best series I've ever read, and it's just honestly so good, and it just kind of like honed in my entire, passion for reading. It was so beautifully written. It was just it had me all in the feels. It was so real. It was so vivid. It was a beautiful, beautiful story. And it wasn't even like reading for pleasure. It was just amazing. And it totally changed my reading perspective, and it's like, wow, books can actually be written so good that they're like powerful. So anyways, that series was the A Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas. I ended up reading this very late. I totally should have read this earlier, but I mean, all things kind of happen with a sequence. But A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas is about this girl named Feyre who is living in like poverty in her townhome, when one day she shoots a wolf who is not a wolf but a High Fae, and what happens is Tamlin, one of the other High Fae, captures her and takes her to the world of the High Fae in accordance of the treaty. And what happens is Feyre has to stay in Prythian, which is the world of the High Fae, and she has to, live with Tamlin for the rest of her life. And she ends up having so many adventures through the fairylands, and it's just a really amazing series, and it really does get real and emotional, and all of Sarah J. Maas's books are so amazing. But anyways, I ended up reading this book because, you know, Throne of Glass. So I read Throne of Glass first, and I ended up like really loving it. Throne of Glass is amazing. And then I was like, what if I read the next series? Because I knew I had a lot of people recommending it to me. I had a friend who read it and absolutely loved it and just wanted to reread it and keep rereading it. Picked up the second 2 books, and I absolutely loved it. Like, this actually was the series to like start making me like read like until midnight and stuff, and like making me stay up to read because it was just so good. And I think it introduced me to YA. Not introduced me, but like totally honed me in on that genre, because I had been reading a lot of middle grade, and I think this just kind of honed me in on YA and kind of like just sent me into it. Like, it was just amazing, and I think that, you know, it just did so much for me. I feel like it just helped shape me as a reader, and I think it just was such a unique story, and it was just had to be read. It was so honest and real. Like I said, it was just so powerful, and I think it was just empowering me a lot. It got me emotional. Like, it was just beautiful. I don't have any complaints with the series. Like, you might see other booktubers like trashing it, like Read with Cindy, for example. I loved it so much, and you know, I totally recommend you guys read this. It's just such a beautifully written story. All right, I think that wraps it up. So let's get into the outro. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. All these series made such a big impact on me, and I mean, they're not like a lot of like the cliche or OG series that a lot of people read, like Harry Potter or Percy Jackson. Like, I feel like these books were just unique, and that's how they kind of like empowered me in a way and just like changed me into the reader that I am. I mean, honestly guys, without reading, my life would be so dull. I love escaping into these like fictional worlds and kind of like, you know, experiencing all these fun and different stories, and sometimes they're not fun stories, sometimes they're dark and sad stories, and that's amazing. I just feel like I can open a book and there's just so many types and so many different feelings that you can get from them. It's just amazing. I love books so much. Hope you can tell. Anyways, if you guys like this video, make sure to leave me a like. That would really help me out, guys. Can we get this video to 50 likes is the question? Are people even still watching me right now? If you are, comment I am awesome, because you guys are awesome. Subscribe to my channel if you want more content like this. I have a lot of fun making it, especially during this time. Like, I've been having a lot of like more time, I guess, to spend on these videos, and I hope you guys can see that. Like, my quality is getting better because I've been like spending like double the time on my editing at least. Anyways, I don't know what I'm saying. Make sure you subscribe. We're almost to 700 subscribers. Maybe when you see this, we'll have it. Comment down below, what are some series that impacted your life, or just, you know, made you fall into love into reading, or like any kind of like book that changed your life in any way or made an impact on your reading life or your reading perspective. I would love to know. Or you can just tell me about what you're currently reading, what your thoughts on it is, or you can just tell me anything in the comments. I would love to respond to you guys. And if you guys enjoy my content, you can click up here for my last video. It was about my big reading update. Like, I had a lot of stuff to say in that video, like the books that I've been reading this month so far, my first audiobook experience, and how you can get 30 days free with audiobooks without a credit card commitment, my spring TBR, and a lot more. So definitely go check out that video. All right, guys, I think that wrapped up all I had to say. I'm so sad to leave you guys, but I have a lot of fun content coming, so just stay tuned. All right, I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure you stay safe and have a great week. Happy reading, guys. All right, bye.